Hi, my friends. It's Thursday, and here's my book of the day. Are you ready? It's a good one. It's called Ricky, the Rock That Couldn't Roll. Over the lake and out past the bay was a green, grassy hill where the rocks came to play. They would race to the top and take in the view. Then they rolled down the way rocks would. There was a Kip, Pip, Chester, Marvin the Boulder. Ignatius played too, but he was much older. And the group called Pebbles never ever sat still, zigzagging their way up and over the hill. Kai was a meteorite and not from this planet, and Maya was lava, but she was always taken for granted. Stu was the smart one, Parker the clown, and grumpy old Ebert rolled round with a frown. Gabby was sassy, Leslie had flair, Emma was giggly and had a friend with black hair. How do you make a tissue dance? Seriously, you put a little boogie in it. But the one trait that seemed to be shared by all was that every rock there was shaped like a ball. And because they were round, they could easily roll through the grass, past the lake, and up and over the knoll. Except for poor Ricky, who sat quietly. You see, Ricky couldn't roll because one side was flat. What part of this is supposed to be fun? His friends didn't get it. "Come roll," they would chant. So Ricky tried but replied, "I'm sorry, I can't." But the rocks were determined. They were sure they could solve Ricky's flat-sided problem and help him revolve. So Marvin the Boulder, with his impressive physique, carried Rick all the way to the hill's grassy peak. Then he pushed downhill yelling, "Keep rolling, kid!" But Rick didn't roll. He just kind of slid. And he said, "This feels like a bad idea." Well, the rocks weren't done. Not by a mile. Surely this next try would get Rick to smile. They stuck rubber balls all over Rick, using big globs of glue to get them to stick. They were very proud of himself. "This will work," they announced. "No good, no good, no good!" But Ricky still couldn't roll. He just kind of bounced. Well, they pushed and they pulled, trying each and every way to get Rick to roll. But by the end of the day, nothing had worked. It was just like Rick expected, and he ended up feeling depressed and dejected. "It's no use," Ricky sighed. "There's just no way, so I'll sit off to the side and watch you all play." But his friends wouldn't quit. "We're here for you, brother, and we'll get you to roll one way or another." So they pondered and thought, each straining their brains, till they looked up and saw it was starting to rain. And that's when it hit. The smart stone named Stu said, "Eureka!" He shouted, "I just know what to do." He explained to them how they would get Rick to tumble. The plan is pure genius. Stu wasn't too humble. So they carried our hero down the road about a mile. So the lake where they gathered up mud and then they could pile on the flat side of rock, Rick creating a mound. But they shaped, smoothed, and sculpted until it was round. Then after the rain, when with the sun in the sky, they left him to bake till the mud was all dry. They gathered up vines, one colorful feather, and they wrapped all around Rick to keep it together. When the last knot was tied and the work was all done, the only step left was to Rick to have fun. They stood back and watched, feeling nervous and tense, as Rick breathed in deep with increasing suspense. He moved slowly at first, testing out his new mold, and then, for the first time, what's gonna happen? Ricky, the rock, he rolled. So Bria, the ladybug, who had been there from the start, felt a surge of pure joy swell up in her heart. She thought, as she watched her friends play on the hill, that there's always a way if there's always a will. And she said to herself, as Ricky rolled down the slope, when you're surrounded by love, you always have hope. The end. Bye.